Hey, ladies and Germans, how are you all doing? This is Or coming to you with some more Steel Division 44. Now, the map today is Cheaux. It's a 1v1, actually it's a ranked 1v1 between DuroSVK, playing the 15th Infantry, you know those Scots, and his opponent Jack2142, playing the 116th Panzer, otherwise known as the Windhund. Now, kind of interesting to note, on this particular case, first of all, SVK is a fairly high-ranked player on this. I apologize, I don't know exactly how high Jack2142 is, but I know that Duro likes to play a fair bit of these Scots division. I have another replay by him I'm going to be bringing up in the next little bit soon. But as both players are getting set on up, and we'll go into the divisions a little bit more, I did want to note, I know you guys have had, there's been a lot of feedback about having a sticker over this area right here. And a lot of the reason that I'm doing that, I'm keeping this up right now to show you guys that it's just a bar telling you where we are in the actual replay. You cannot do anything with the bar, and frankly I thought you guys would at least want a little bit of a graphic instead of having this obnoxious bar right here. If I'm wrong, let me know. If you guys like it this way instead, let me know that too. But let's get back to business here. So, very, very early on, what can we expect from both sides? Well, the 116th Panzer, the Windhund division, is very much based around a lot of light vehicles in Phase A. And kind of as they start ramping up further and further, they can really expect to see some good power in Phase B. You will see very early on, though, we'll also have a couple of lighter, kind of medium tanks at the Panzer III right here. You have a couple of half-tracks going on behind. But all in all, it seems like a very fairly mechanized opening, right? Right. Meanwhile, DuroSVK, the Scots have tons of infantry, and I mean they have 9 spaces in their deck for infantry, and well, they only get stronger as B goes on. And indeed, I feel like that's a lot of what a lot of ranked play is these days, is that you have as strong A as possible, you have a good B, and if you fall off in C, well, that's okay, because at that point you've kind of ramped up and taken a lot of positions on the map. But maybe what we should do is focus a little bit more on these initial positions by both players. Well, over on the other side, like I said already, we're going to see a Panzer III, we're going to see a recon vehicle, and another kind of very, very light, I don't know how to call it, just a motorized vehicle. It's an 8-wheeled, 10-wheel vehicle. German left is going to be bringing on forward a half-track with an MG42 in it, as well as another one of the 232s. On the German right, it's a couple of half-tracks and being supported by a recon vehicle, and again, a 232. So not a super considerable start, but at the same time, nothing inconsiderable either. On Duro's side of things, what we do have ourselves some very, very self-supporting, I would say, openings. Recon troops with a machine gun and anti-tank coming on in. You can see these guys shifting on up to the center part of the map, moving quickly to control this crossroads right here. In his center, we're going to see, again, another machine gun, another recon, another anti-tank gun. Again, these guys moving on up, trying to lock down this kind of improvised fortress here. I think he's trying to put... Where is that? He's putting the anti-tank gun just to the southeast of the ridge of trees. Kind of get the feeling he's going to be moving that machine gun just behind it. Yes, he is. And on his right, though, he's throwing tons of infantry into this town. It makes complete sense when you think about it. Machine gun backing them up. And do we see any kind of anti-tank guns? No, we don't, but we do see at least one leader coming on in with the command carrier. Well, that should put him in fairly good stead. It really kind of depends how well these early anti-tank guns can do versus this Panzer III. And that really is the question, isn't it? Because it looks like the Panzer III, the supporting material is going to get close enough and start locking down this Lloyd carriers before you can really get online. But no, here we go. So the 6-pounder is coming online here, and ammo explosion. There goes the recon immediately. He's going to take a lot of pressure, but at the same time, taking out that early recon is a pretty good win. But no, he's going to go down shortly thereafter. Vickers and scouts hanging out, but the P3 takes out the other supporting carrier right there. On the German right, we do see the anti-tank guy got completely taken out. I don't even think he made it onto the field. And indeed, we have this Vickers all alone against his 232 and a couple of half-tracks. So not a particularly good start, I would say, so far for Duro. He does control the right rather significantly, but at the same time, he's not really pressuring forwards, and I can kind of understand that. The MG42 will lock down a lot of the easy avenues moving on in. Now, this road right here could give a nice opportunity to move forward, but, you know, it's... He knows the MG is there. It's just, it's warming back in and around. It's going to be kind of a rough start for him. On the left, another anti-tank gun is coming forwards, and he's going to have a decent line of sight. Now, remind us that, folks, we're going to see 1,000 meters as a range out of that bad boy. Now, and I think we will, in fact, see... Get a shot off, maybe? Yes? No? Maybe so? Okay, no. He's barely missing them every single time. We're going to see maybe a line of sight coming out now. No. Kind of unfortunate line of sight over here on the German right, keeping this AT gun from really being effective. There we go, starting to lay down fire now again. The Germans putting some infantry into this town over here, as well as another machine gun. And we are going to see another AT gun shifting over here to this cross, so it's a fallback position. Duro is desperately trying to keep his troops from being forced back too far. This second 6-pounder, though, seems to be doing okay. He's pinned down for the moment. But now it looks like he has himself a nice little bit of a Honey Stewart back here backing him up. There goes the AT gun, but not going to be too upset about that. These vehicles right here are more or less cut off from home plate, so to speak. Nevertheless, the Germans do have a slight advantage here, 52% to 48%. And unless the Brits can somehow start moving through these tree lines here and right around here, it doesn't matter if they're holding down the right-hand flank. You can see that as of right now, they're actually falling back. Not a ton, but enough that the Germans are still kind of consolidating their position on their left. Now, AT gun is getting in the fight here. Question is he locking down? He's going after that Panzer III. It's a good call right there, but he keeps bouncing around, and he just gets taken out again. So Duro getting very unlucky. Another Honey tank coming on in, though, and this guy could have a decent actual engagement. That guy with the, what is it now, 37mm cannon against a P3, he has a good chance of getting some kind of damage off. Not going to be sterling, perhaps, but still be pretty good. And if nothing else, he needs to put some sort of armor in the middle part of the field to really stopgap that advancing P3. Intelligently, this Vickers machine gun's not even trying to open up on anybody. Then again, I don't think that 2142 sees that. He just sees that there's an empty area. Now, the 232 goes down on the German right, and this final half-track's backing away. He's got that cannon right here, but the 38mm is not going to be enough to really kind of pound through that Honey Stewart, especially not from range. MMG Kayera coming on in, though. This guy's got both a Vickers and Brenz. Decently well there, and he's bringing on in some nice anti-tank weapons. Probably to deal with the MG, not the MGs, with the half-tracks that you know do exist. The question is really where. But now he sees that coming on. Okay, so let's take a quick look. What does DuroSVK see right about now? Okay, so he knows there's a half-track coming on in. If he drops off his Piat right here in this house, would be in decent shape, I would say. But still not fantastic. There we go. So you get Piat squad out and about. But the Germans are starting to pressure him behind, and there goes the carrier. The MMG comes down immediately. And Duro just gets pressured further and further back. He's dropped another few percent. He's on 57 to 43. And the Germans are bringing in more recon. They kind of probe this area, I'd imagine, right here in this bulge. Honey Stewart hanging back over here in the British center. Another Panzer III has transitioned over here on the right-hand side. And that will be pretty darn good, I would say, to match up against the Stewart. Question is now, okay, is P3 sliding on over? So they're trying to close out this area as well against the Brits. P3 as well, shifting on up. And more or less, he should be able to see a lot of material. If he moves in any closer, he'll pick up that machine gun pretty darn quickly. Well, let's take a look over here again. This town seems to be where a lot of the action's going on. Now, Rifle's getting pinned down and cut apart from that garrison, not able to make it out alive. And these early vehicles seem to be giving a lot of fits to the 15th. It is worthwhile to note that if you look at the stats for right now, the 15th is about 1 in every 3 players in ranked matches plays as the 15th. And you can kind of understand the attraction. Problem is, they have, it seems to be a little bit of a issue dealing with these light vehicles early on. Yes, they do have Piats. And yes, they have a couple of early Honey Stewarts as well. Maybe it's the map, maybe it's bad luck, I don't know. What I can say for sure, though... Oof. I got some smackdown here. What I can say for sure, though, is that DuroSVK is kind of getting a little bit... not abused, but he's getting pressured pretty hard here. Then again, now it's the Stewart's transition over here to the eastern side. And, okay, we still have the Honey Stewart over here in the west. We have a couple more rifles kind of hanging on back. And an AVRE, a super early AVRE, being called on in to deal with these garrisons, I think. And I'm not sure why the 232 thought he could deal with that Stewart. First of all, he's got to know that there was AT in the area. And even though the Honey Stewart is putting fire down pretty much on everybody, what else does he see? He doesn't see this machine gun, he's just seeing instead this 250 back here. Not putting any kind of effective fire down on top of it, but still a 250 in the back is a 250 in the back. Rifles on the British right, excuse me, Scottish right are pinned down. And where is that AVRE trying to go? Okay, he's going right up the center road here. I get the feeling, again, if he puts a round into that MG, that would be a big win, I would argue, for the Scots. Stewart continuing to do some good damage, takes out that half-track over here in the British center, excuse me, German center. And P3s are really kind of staying where they are. That's weird. Okay. P3 maybe shifting on over, trying to maybe get a good line of sight down onto that Stewart. AVRE in the meantime, 600 meters. It's really not that far, but yep, he's going after MG. Oh no, he's going after the half-tracks. It blows that apart in just a couple of seconds. One round goes off, and that 30 HE value is insane. Question is, will he blunder within the P-Grand range? And unless he's really, really unlucky or just kind of plain dumb, I don't think it's going to happen. Now he's aiming that bad boy and shots away. I don't know, but Duro seems to have recovered now. He's starting to take back part of the map here. And he's just having fits instead. Aiming machine guns like crazy, but he's not putting out that petard mortar shot. I want to see another one of those go out. The spigot mortar, excuse me. Petard, I think, was another term for it, but I might be wrong. Williams might want to back me up on that one. Meantime, though, there is now a Pack 38 out in the field, but he's got a very limited range of engagement. And indeed, you can just see he's putting fire into these infantry sections as they're coming on forwards, but it's not enough, I would argue. And in the meantime, Stewart's continue to put fire over here on these half-tracks. I'm not going to advance against these tree lines, which it seems like it'd be a good idea. Indeed, if you're a tank, I could just start popping infantry through here and very quickly take you on out. But what's going to be happening here as moving to Phase B is that Duro's going to bump up quite significantly in supply. The Vinton Division will increase, but not by much. Only about 10% or so. Pack 38 does take out another carrier, and that's a shame, but we kind of expected that eventually. The Honey Stewart, in the meantime, this bad boy, does he see what's going on? Well, yes, he does. That Stewart's going to see him. He's going to see the Stewart. He's going to get the first shot off. Now, I don't think the Honey... Yep, the Honey is completely and totally destroyed. As a little teardrop, it gets cleaned up super, super swiftly. I am kind of curious. I wonder how good the Spigot mortar might be considered against something like the P3. I am a little bit hazy yet on the calculations in terms of HE versus armor. I think it's 50%. If someone want to correct me on that one, go for it. But if that is in fact the case, then he should have no problem taking out the P3, or at absolute minimum, doing intense amounts of damage. But no, we are onto P3. Onto Phase B right now. So we're seeing anything significant coming on in. Well, a 25-pounder coming out. Not sure. Is he putting fire down in this area? Looking to go over on the eastern side. We'll see in just a second, I guess. Shot will probably fail to connect. Will give us a good indication of where he wants to put a lot of his pressure. Petard shot goes out and pins down AT gun, and yep, he's going after the AT gun. He's afraid of that, and I can't blame him. AVRE in the meantime, reload coming on out again, and I imagine the next round coming on in will probably take out this P-Ground squad. Or maybe he'll split the difference and go again after the P-38. The Pac-38, excuse me. Nope. Instead, he goes after that house, blows the garrison apart, and the fact that that house is still standing is impressive to me. To take a shell like that and keep on ticking is pretty darn good. Meanwhile, on the German left and the Scots left, German right, keep doing that. All's quiet. It seems like everyone's just throwing tons and tons of material over here into this town, which is a little bit of a shame because I feel like there's a great opportunity to slide in and around. You can circle through this area right here until your opponent sneaks any kind of AT guns up in this area, and you'll know it pretty darn quick. It's a great avenue to kind of slide in and around. At least that's what I would consider. But rifles in the meantime starting to engage, and no, this AVRE is coming a little bit too close here. Question is, so the P guns, are they actually close enough to get that shot off? No, I don't think they are. No, 150 meters, never mind. Oh no, shots coming off, okay, from the 232. Alright. But P3 is diving in over here. He's going to be putting some pressure down. The question is, he's sliding close enough to put pressure on... No, he's not. Okay. He's putting pressure instead on this rifle group. And that's good, mind you. But still, I don't think it's worth it to be panicked right now. But no, never mind. Here he comes. He's going after that petard. Round to come out. No, crew knocked out. So I think this is going to be pretty much it. Yep, there it goes. That AVRE gets blown to pieces. And it seems initially, at least for the time being, that Duro's chances seem to be going up in smoke. He does take out the Pac-38 over on the German left. And they continue to have a stalemate over here on the collective left side of the map as we're looking at it right now. And the Honey's trying to put pressure now in on top of this P3, and it's not doing very well. The penetration is decent, but without a very, very solid hit, I don't know how well that's going to go, especially with that P3 having a ton of extra veterancy on it. And while it doesn't seem like a lot, you can definitely tell that the P3 gets like, what, maybe a 10 or 15% quicker reload time. That allows him to take out that Steward. 17-pounder, in the meantime, is putting rounds down range, or at least it seemed to be doing so. Took out the accompanying half-track for the Pac-38. But not doing enough damage to really write home about it. And his 25-pounder might be the only thing that's keeping Duro's position even moderately okay. He is still down quite significantly. And I did miss the 17-pounder getting into action, and I believe taking out this P3 right there. No, that's the EVRE. P3. He didn't move on forward here, did he? No, he did not. That was the early MMG going down. Alright, forgive me guys, I missed the death sight of the P3. But we are going to see some Panzer coming on in, and these might be rather scary. Question really is where he's going to start throwing that fire. And we seem to be seeing some signs of life over in the center part of the map. This half-track is going to charge on forward, though, and this Piat's going to have right in the area. Question is, yep, falling on back. One more shot might be enough to take it out. No, it doesn't even have to. The crew just surrenders, and everybody just kind of goes home. Rifles, in the meantime, engage against a 250 and get pushed back, and we're going to see a good Wolverine coming onto the map, which means that this Panzer III is not going to do very well against that. And 17-pounder claims another victim. So well done there. Panzer in the meantime, aiming, and we have a ton of extra artillery coming on out for the Windhund. It'll be so interesting to see that happen. And it looks like the Windhund commander is looking to find that 17-pounder. And what, oof, very, very good hit. Does hammer that crew. Still a couple of them left, but at the same time, that thing is still forced to fall back. Not so much in disarray, but if nothing else, he just really, really needs to fall back. 17-pounder in the meantime is going to see a lot of infantry coming on forwards. Question is, can he get another couple of shots off? Might be able to take out another vehicle or two? No. No, he doesn't. Now, this MG's been here for quite a bit of time. And of course, as I say that, you know, Castor's cursed, he goes down. And what was that? The Vesp. Okay, so the Vesp is putting fire now over into the 17-pounder. The 17-pounder can't see his Tormentor. In a couple more rounds, he's going to become pretty much combat ineffective. And we are slowly beginning to see signs of life in the Scotch position. Not fantastic, mind you, but still signs of life. Vespa, in the meantime, is going to put some good fire down, trying to find the 25-pounder, and does a fairly good job of it. Indeed, you can see he's just throwing rounds downrange. Oof! Almost takes out the supply truck. That would have been a nice removal of about 50 requisition points. Junker, in the meantime, the question is, where is he going to go? 2142 does see the Wolverine, so I think he's got this one. I think he's got this one. And Duro has not called in any planes whatsoever. And with an ME-109 already keeping some good ground cover, here we go. So now we're going to see a Spitfire coming on in, going after the ME-109. Not going to stress him out too much, and in the meantime, it does give the Junker enough time to make a gun run and take out that Wolverine. It's still a little bit shocking that neither player is really pushed over here at all. It's very, very strange to me. Another 25-pounder was called in. It looks like that supply truck was taken out. You can see it right there. That poor guy is a fiery wreck. Duro, in the meantime, is trying to push forward again through this town. And I'm seeing a very big missed opportunity by both players. We started to see a little bit of it as this half-track, well, the 232 made a very, very strong rush, or 250, excuse me, made a strong rush down this center line. And then it got taken out immediately. Well, falling back and then get forced to surrender. So, a bit of a problem there. The Germans, in the meantime, bringing in some good kind of leader infantry. And this Pack 38 might be sneaking on force, but I don't know to what end. He's not seen a whole lot of armor in the Scotch side, so I'm not really sure why he's so nervous about it. Panzer, in the meantime, is trying to find out if there's any material over in this area. He's just throwing down a ton of firepower. Ooh, 17-pounder takes out one half-track. Don't think he's got a whole lot of line of sight on other material, though. Take a quick look at his line of sight here. Okay, well, if he shifts over to the left, it looks like he's trying to do that right now. He might be able to pick off this 232, but I wouldn't be too sanguine about his chances. I would like to see... Okay, another Wolverine's coming on in. I was going to say, I would like to see some more armor coming out from Duro. He's had a couple of Honey Stewarts, and even then these guys have not done much. Kind of blundered into a lot of AT fire, actually. And one thing I'm just noticing right now, and this is something that maybe someone can kind of clarify for me, but so far I've discovered, and this may not be surprising, do not throw your tanks into a town. I'm not sure why people seem intent on doing that. A lot of replays I've watched so far, that tends to happen a fair bit. Tanks are great for battles of maneuver. You're not going to get a battle of maneuver if you're going down a thin street. This aviary might be one of the only ones I've considered otherwise saying that. Taking out the truck just as this P-Grams are trying to stumble on out. What I was going to say, though, is that, okay, this aviary has a spigot mortar. He's meant to go and start blowing away hardpoints. Unfortunately, that does leave him open to some very, very negative attention. Now, where is that Wolverine? He can't be gone already. Okay, no, we see sliding over here to the west. Oof, and the Germans are making a big push over here. You see a 250 sliding on in. This Honey's going to see this guy any second, though. 3, 2, 1, and here comes the round that might be that man's doom. No, instead he's going to put enough firepower, and this guy's only going to be able to tickle him. Falling back, and engine destroyed. He is a goner. By the same time, in the middle, the Scotch division is forced into kind of an ignoble position here. And we are now finally into Phase C, so here's where both people get kind of winded. You can see SVK's division only gains 5 more supply. Jack2142 just gets a little bit more than that, but nevertheless, it's not a particularly strong position for either player. However, we do think things like this Crocodile, and that could be kind of fun. 75mm cannon, he's got that flamethrower, quote, vehicle. He's got a couple of machine guns just to kind of go and support his anti-infantry, assuming, of course, that people are foolish enough to engage him in a head-to-head battle. And taking a big, broad look at the map right about now, we are ignoring a little bit to the left. We can just see, again, still, that all this pressure over here on the Cheaux battlefield is concentrated right on this tiny, tiny little area. It seems almost a shame. I think both players are just kind of getting a little bit suckered on in. They see town and they think to themselves, this is massively important, I have to make sure I hold this. Which I can't quite argue. I understand the reasoning behind it. However, I don't understand the level of emphasis that's being... the overemphasis that's being placed on it. Junker, in the meantime, is swooping on around, and that's why, because we have a couple of Spitfires flying combat air patrol over these Wolverine. That's a good idea right there. Wolverine trying to cheat on forward to put fire into the 234, and I want to see that Crocodile get into action. Now, where is that bad boy? Okay, he's still coming up the major area here. There's always kind of an interesting thing about this vehicle, is that, well, he literally had a trailer with him every single time, just to hold all the extra fuel to light said flamethrower of his. Wolverine can be able to get line of sight on anything? Not quite yet. Honey Stewart, in the meantime, might get a shot off, just barely. That 234 is going to push him back a little bit. And the P3 is finally moving on in to put pressure against this Stewart once he sees him. And therein lies the rub now, doesn't it? But Herr Crocodile is still shifting on in. The Bedford supply truck is trying to get away from all of this negative attention. And the command steward's back over here. This guy has absolutely no heavy firepower. He's got a couple of machine guns, and indeed I think it was an M2HB on that one. Yes, and a Browning 1919. Now, checking the range, 260 range on that napalm, which means he's got to get awfully close to this AT. But again, part of me wants to see this Crocodile get into action, so we're going to hang on out here just a couple of seconds longer. Panzer puts some rapid firepower down on that main drag, takes out a squad of British infantry, Scotch infantry. I'm going to do that the entire map here. While over on the left-hand side, we see the Wolverine continuing to kind of push in one more time, putting pressure into these SPA troops. And somewhat unsurprisingly, not being able to engage them too easily. It is worth noting, seeing a Jagdpanzer coming on in. And it looks like from this position, he's going to be able to peek out and see that M10 pretty darn easily. Crocodile takes enough firepower from all that indirect artillery that he decides he wants a little bit of R&R. It's a little bit hard to argue with on that one. 25-pounder is still in the area. Question is, will he be effective firepower? And my initial gut reaction says no. Then again, 2,400 meters is a long ways. So no, you know what? He could manage to do something if they can put some effective range. Okay, so he's aiming after the Vesp. Not going to hit anything, unfortunately. Command Stewart, in the meantime, puts enough firepower down to take out one of those lighter half-tracks, and indeed, he's putting pressure into this 232 as well. The 232 has no ammo for his Kampfwagenkanone, and he goes down. So this Command Stewart doing a lot better than I thought it would. Crocodile, in the meantime, coming on in, and flame. Show me flame. No, he's not. Okay, well, you know, I can continue to hope. Spitfire coming on in, trying to chase away that Junker, and will manage to do so. Indeed, even takes it down. That guy crashing just outside the tree line. And Spitfire follows his prey to the cold, unyielding earth. M10, in the meantime, though, did go down. That very, very well-placed Jagdpanzer was able to take it, but in turn, I think, went down to the 17-pounder. But now the 17-pounder might pay with his own life, because the 232 is in the area, as is this 251. Both of them are fairly lightly armed, but at the same time they could push on in. Nope, it's going to be indirect firepower that could take him out. Take a quick look. Where are these guys trying to fire? Okay, you are firing nowhere, technically, and you are firing nowhere, technically. Strange. We'll find out together at some point. And no, okay, so the... oh, wow. So the Panzer might have gone down, but that HE not quite enough to penetrate. Transmission damaged, and there goes that Crocodile. Could have been so much more impressive for DuroSVK, but DuroSVK right now is down 60% of the tickets his opponent needs. But in death, even as the Crocodile goes down the center track, we just saw the infantry finally get shifted on out. Problem with that is that there's more infantry almost immediately there to pressure them right back. This particular 25-pounder is putting rounds downrange to go and hit the Vesp. And the Vesp, if the Vesp gets one good hit back against the 25-pounder, that could be enough to shift the position here. But no, I don't think that will be the case. What will be the case, we will see the Panzer getting another barrage on out. And what about this one? No, that's not... Mortar half-track. For some reason, I thought that was a second Panzerwaffe. I might have been wrong on that one. Go figure, right? Another Jagdpanzer coming on in, so that late game material starting to give a little bit more life to the Germans. Not that they really needed it already. And we can see Jack2142 seems to start to understand that his opponent doesn't have a whole lot left to throw at him. More infantry coming on in, as well as a Crusader tank. Huh. So the Crusader is obviously, as you can see here, an AA tank. He's got that lovely, lovely Bofor on him. It's kind of a weird bit of material. Oh, come on, come on. Just have a 25-pounder around and just fire into this guy. You have direct fire AP for that very reason. But I don't think it's going to happen. Indeed, one 25-pounder goes down. The other one might get picked off as well. Now, if this guy gets stressed out, he's going to get forced to surrender, I think, almost immediately. And yep, there it goes. But nevertheless, even in death, he was able to go, or even surrender. He was able to get himself one of the 25-pounders. Finally, over here on the left-hand side, that we are going to see that half-track going on down. So for the first time all game, DuroSVK is finally getting tickets. An incoming truck, though, does get taken out, and with it a squad of infantry. And that is just kind of a shame, because it seems that Duro really needs all the help he can get this time. Minor victory, though, for the Germans if they are able to hold this particular line of demarcation. And we're going to see another Panzer III coming on in. This guy is still fairly light at this point in the game, but the Scots don't seem to have a lot of answers for him either. Wolverine coming on in, and this Crusader is just kind of there to put up some flak if necessary. I still think we have a couple of Spitfires that are ready and raring to go. That is assuming, of course, the Junker does show his face. And there we go, ME-109's coming on in, and that's what we're going to see. So, Junker 87 making a gun run over against this Wolverine. You can just bet your sweet pippy on it. And he's going to be able to take it out, too. 37mm cannon, and yeah. Spitfire makes a run, but no, he's already dead. And there goes a Spitfire as well, so that Junker... Some really great airplay being done by Jack2142. Using the ME-109s to fly combat air patrol as he uses his Junker, which is very, very outdated, to take out one target after another one. There goes the Stewart as well, so DuroSVK's momentary push on the right flank seems to be very much aborted now. He's got some more infantry moving on in. Oh, no. We have ourselves probably a Bofors coming in. It's another anti-air platform. And an MMG carrier is going to spot out these spot troops and will put enough machine gun fire into them that I think he should be able to take them out. Now, the question is, could the Scots have done anything different here? Well, they are continuing to push over here on the right flank, and indeed, this Wolverine, I think, has some good line of sight here. Yes, he does. So his cannon should be able to tank out this mortar half-track if he hits him. He's aligning. Okay, he's aligning. The stars are aligning, my friend. Okay, there goes the half-track. He's reloading. Question is, what else would he hit? Well, at the moment, not the best of shot opportunities, but he could sneak forward, I think, a little bit. And maybe put pressure, I think, a little bit further in. Yep, he sees the Panzer III. He's going to get a nice head-on round into the Panzer III, and kaboom, that is the power of the Wolverine. He slices you, he dices you, and he heals himself for all the extra damage. Tripolston, forgive me guys, Tripolston is what we're looking at here. And it's not going to last very long. We see the Jagdpanzer already putting one HE round in and taking out, what? Oh my gosh, numbers in 6th fail me sometimes. So, what, 33%? So, 80% or so, 84%. Spitfire is kind of flying around the area a little bit. Wolverine might be able to push forward some more and get some great shots in on the Vesp, and I think that's what's going to happen. At least one round as the guy retreats. Yes, he does. He's going to get one round off. Will it count those? Oh, no. The guy gets away just in time. He's going after the infantry instead. There goes the Panzerwerfer, though. And the German left is starting to collapse finally. The Vesp has gone down. So as long as he keeps out of touch from these Panzer Grenadiers and these Panzer Shreks, this Wolverine's going to be great force multiplier for the Scotch efforts over here on their right. Spitfire continues to fly up in the area, and I imagine the next gun run's going to happen up against that Wolverine. But even as they push over on the right side, the Germans realize there's nobody really facing them in the middle, and they start pounding through the center. But a Challenger tank is coming on in, and this guy could do pretty darn well as well. 76.2mm cannon. That is a fairly strong cannon. Now, the turret itself looks like something off the Monitor from the Civil War, but you can't deny the effectiveness of it. With a Panther G coming on in, the question is, can the Scots manage to deflect? Now, I don't know the answer to that question. Priest coming in to give us some nice mobile artillery support. Another Tripolston coming on in, I think, just to create some flak cover in case the German air comes on in. Now, the more and more I watch this game, the more I realize how much work goes into mastering it, which is just a fantastic style of what the game is. Command Stewart coming in. I think this guy's being sacrificed for the good of the cause. I cannot say for sure. Taking a quick peek over at Duro's view, he sees a lot of material coming on in. Command Stewart bounces, but it's going to be going down pretty quickly. 3, 2, 1. Crew knocked out, which is almost a prelude to death. Shooter knocked out. I'm surprised it hasn't died already. Now, Jack2142 knows that there is some material out and about, but doesn't know exactly where all the material is in this town. Though, unfortunately for SVK, his left side has collapsed completely. Challenger, though, is going to take out at least this 232, I think. No, he does not. The Jagdpanzer puts enough firepower out that the 232's brave, if madcap, charge will give him a bit more breathing room. And it seems kind of unfortunate that Challenger is just having such an issue putting fire into the 232. Tripolston dies, and 51 to 49, we're still going to see the Axis probably pull this one out. We have less than 5 minutes to go. So unless Duro can plot quite a miracle, I don't know if we're going to see any kind of revived Scotch attack. Some very funky front lines here. Thank you so much to these rifles. Kind of seeing a great deal of the map. And Challenger could have done well, but it's just falling back in the face of this dedicated anti-tank weapons platform. Now, 234 charges and very quickly decides to not charge. And we see another Challenger tank coming on in. Okay, so maybe, just maybe, if Duro pushes hard enough on the left-hand side, he can reverse this entire position, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere near enough to make up the lost ground. He is still down almost 1,400 tickets. In fact, just under that right now. But this Challenger tank is going to move on forward. In fact, we got 2 Challengers and only 1 lone Jagdpanzer falling back. Okay, he's got to be able to see him from this rifles right here. Yes, these guys can see him. Unfortunately, this Challenger might get taken out, yet fuel explosion. ME-109's up on that combat air patrol yet again, and this Junker 87, that target for him is completely gone. Now the question is he going to make a gun run against this Challenger over here? And the answer to that is probably not, considering how this other ME-109 is getting pressured a great deal by the Spitfire. Eager to go and get revenge, he does so, takes that guy out. Junker might get aggressed. It's going to try to make it away. I think the Spitfire might get a little bit of firepower into him, though. Like I said to you guys, the Junker was out of date by the time World War II even started, let alone as it progressed, and there it goes. That guy is just way too slow to be a viable weapons platform. But yet, we are going to see, I think, the Axis close this one out. This 25-pounder over here, pretty much out of ammo. This Crusader not getting a lot done. No real bang for his buck. Now, Flammpanzer coming on in for the Germans, just, I think, at this point, really for fun. More challengers coming in, but the lack of effort on the Scotch left is kind of... It kind of lost it for him. Now, to be fair, there were a couple of very clutch Junker 87 hits. If you remember that first M10 that came onto the field, I think there was a gun run by the Junker, and said gun run did take out the M10 in just under about 2 or 3 seconds of fire. Of course, that being said, there still wasn't a lot of effective use, I think, of vehicles on the left side. And you can see it just screams for armor usage. Not a lot of viable anti-tank positions that you can't find out by yourself. Maybe right here, and against this area right here. But if you start pressing up along the main arterials, you can really get something going. Regardless, the Jagdpanzer goes down. That's the second one that goes down, and that was holding up a little bit of the Scotch advance. But I'm going to suspect we'll see probably about 1,000 ticket win for Axis on this one. Flammpanzer coming on in. There's no real infantry AT to do anything about it. So let's see if we can get a nice kind of, not so much cinematic shot, but at least see him put flame on out. And yep, there he goes. He just boils away that infantry and a lickety split. Those guys surrender, and I don't blame them, really. But DuroSVK does not want to give in, even to the last, throwing infantry along this eastern arterial. He knows it's over. He really does know it's over, but he is fighting to the end, and you have to respect that. Regardless, bad luck, Duro. Well played, Jack. And guys, this has been a lot of fun for me to go and cast. A little bit static for my liking, so I have to admit, but still fun nevertheless. Tell me if you guys want me to keep around just the heads up right here. If I hide it, there goes absolutely everything, and I don't like that at all. But if you guys want that, I will keep it moving fun forward. A BEF Panzer coming on in. But yes, that's going to be it. And yep, Axis is going to win, what, 1690 to, I'm guessing, 510-ish, 511. So well done, Jack2142. Major victory? Major defeat now for Duro. A major victory for the Germans. Kills and losses roughly equal. Very much kind of trench warfare on the eastern side. Biggest killers for the Brits. Well, AVRE did pretty well early on. They got taken out super quickly. And as the game progressed, it was really just the anti-tank guns that did well. Picking up abrasive vehicles for one and some infantry, as well as bagging for the other one. Not a whole lot really being done, though, by these Wolverines. You can see a couple of rounds going on out. But you see the losses by, comparison. This Panzer III looked like a god among men. Fantastic play, fantastic play. 250 out of this half track does pretty well as well. But you're not seeing a lot of really effective infantry, basically because they're sitting in defense the entire time. And there's what I was talking about, that Junker 87, before he went down, he took out 3 Wolverines and a Honey Stewart. So well played and well fought on that particular aircrew. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, this is Con Ulrich signing off. You all have a wonderful day. I'll see you all soon. Take it easy, everybody.